Hello! In this Unity tutorial, I wanted to cover timeline animation, or keyframe animation as it is also called. I've gone ahead and created a blank 2D Unity project. If you need help setting up a blank 2D Unity project, please check out the project setup video on this channel. So to get started, I've also gone ahead and imported an image. You can see down here in my assets folder, I have the CMU logo. Of course, feel free to use any image asset that you would like. A few notes about the image asset that you brought in. You'll want to see that it has this little icon next to it, and when you click it open, you'll be able to actually see the image itself. When you select on it, the values of this image are going to populate in the inspector on the right hand side of your screen. Let's just make sure that it is set to Sprite, 2D, and UI. If it is set to default, you'll want to go ahead and select the texture type and make sure it is 2D and UI, and then go ahead and select the Apply button. Alright, so we're all set to go ahead and start this example. What we're going to do is first bring the image into the Unity scene by click, hold, and drag into the scene. Now this is quite big, so I'm going to use the rect tool up here in the upper left hand corner. This transform tool is going to allow us to just drag the edges of this image down just so it's a little bit smaller. Perfect. And then go ahead and position it on the left hand side of your screen. And what we're going to do now is we have to open up the animation window. So to do that, we're going to go to the upper left hand corner, notice the window, and from there select animation, and then animation again. Now this is going to open up a free floating window. As a note, you can dock windows wherever you would like. So to dock a window, go ahead and select and click over the name of the window here, so animation. Again, we're going to click with your left mouse button, hold and drag down, and I'm going to put it next to the console. You can of course put it wherever you would like, but I like it down here at the bottom. Okay, so in here with the animation tab selected, it says to begin animating logo, which is the image that you can see here in the hierarchy. We need to create an animator and animation clip. So it sounds like we have to do two things. Well, this create button is actually going to do both for us. Now make note of the components that we have attached here. Now we didn't actually attach any of these. This is what was provided to us by default by Unity. We have the transform, which represents the position, rotation, scale of the object. We have the sprite renderer, which is going to allow the image to actually show up on the screen. And when we click the Create button down here, we'll go ahead and give this a new name. Now you'll notice the Save As type is anim. This represents animation, so we're creating a new animation clip. So we'll want to call this Move Right because it's going to start at the left and go to the right. Now you'll notice when we did that, a few things happened. The very first thing you probably noticed was at the bottom, this changed to a different window. We now have a lot of lines here. This is actually where we're going to be performing our animation by inserting keyframes. So I'd encourage you to take a look at the chapter in your Multimedia Demystified textbook, which talks more about the process of keyframes and what they are in the animation chapter, and more specifically about tweening, which is a very important concept because that actually applies here in Unity, because what we're going to be doing is setting multiple keyframes that we want this object to move to. Unity is going to automatically tween the object so that it goes from point A to point B, and it's going to fill in all of the keyframes in between there. You'll also notice in the inspector here we have a new component, which is the animator. And if you remember back to before we clicked the create button, it said you have to create an animator and an animation. Well, this is the animator, and an animator consists of a controller. Now we won't get into the controller in this video. I do want to make you aware of what it is. The controller is responsible for handling the various animations that an object can have. So in the animator window, for a given object, it can have multiple animations. An example is a character can walk, but if they press the shift button, the character may start running. We define the transitions between when the character walks and when the character runs in the animator window. Enough about that, let's just get to animating now. So we have our object selected, it's highlighted over here in the hierarchy. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our initial position. Now, to set the initial position, there's a few ways of doing it. I'm going to show both. The first way is to select the Add Property, and you'll notice the Transform. Let's go ahead and click the little plus next to Position. So we are setting the position of the object. Now, if you look here in your timeline, we have a keyframe set here and a keyframe set here. Now, if you play this by clicking the play button in the lower left-hand corner, you'll notice that it's going to loop, but absolutely nothing is happening. Now, these two keyframes are exactly the same, meaning the object is not changing position at all. We actually want to select this last keyframe here, left-click on it, go ahead and press Delete on your keyboard to delete it away, and then let's just go ahead and you're going to click in this blue area right above this, not down here in the gray, but in this blue area, and you're going to drag the white line and just put it up here at the 1 second mark. And then go ahead and use in the upper left hand corner the Move tool, and what we're going to do is enable recording mode. So recording mode is this red icon here. Go ahead and select it. You'll notice the timeline is going to turn red, as well as any value that you can control via this record button will also turn red. We can talk about the other components in a later video, but for what I'd like to show you right now, just focus on the position here. This is the initial position of the object. At the 1 second mark, which is where we put the white line, we want to have this object be here, move from left to right. And you'll notice that when we did that, of course the values are going to change. Here we have a positive value. You'll also notice that another keyframe was created there. Let's go ahead and go out of recording mode by selecting on the record button again. Everything will not turn red. And then go ahead and press play. And now this object is going to move from left to right, and it's just looping here in this animation window. So if we were to go ahead and press play, we'll be able to see the image move from left to right on our screen, and it will loop. Now, if you don't want it to loop, we can change the property of that. What we can do is, let me first show you in the controller here. If you double click on the controller in the animator in the inspector, that's going to bring up this one. Now, I just wanted to show you this here because there is one important property, which is the speed of it. If you want to make it go faster or slower, change the speed here. If you don't want the animation to loop, you'll notice down here we have two things. This is the animator controller. This is the actual animation clip. Just unselect the loop time and then go ahead and play. Now it'll move from left to right and it will not loop. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to your instructor or leave a comment on this video and we will get notified of that. Thank you very much.